What's going on, you kids? This is your old pal and Warboss Gorr, and I'm here to tell you that 8th edition is all about crumping Yumis and killing space marines. And I'm having a blast. Mostly because now in the 8th edition, all units seem viable. Or at least a little viable. A little bit more viable than 7th edition. And I am having a ball. So I'm here to tell you what units I have adored, and in the 4 games that I've played, which one have been the workhorses. Alright, let's go. Alright, starting off, let's go with the head honcho, the main man. Let's talk about the Warboss. The Warboss is a combat monster. He is a 2-up to hit, strength 12 with the power claw, and he is wrecking face. Don't expect him to shoot anything. He's an orc, but still, if you get him into close combat, he will wreck and destroy anything in his way. You surround him with boys or knobs, and you get him in that fight. You take him there via the truck or take him to, via a battle wagon. You get him up there, and he will do damage. Just like in 7th edition. Not like in 7th edition is the Wah. The Wah is different. The Wah allows him to actually make people, allow orcs to advance and then charge for units that are within 6 inches of him. Unlike in 7th edition, which was sort of, if you had him as an HQ, you were able to get this blanket wall for your whole army, which was nice. But now, he's wawing every turn, and you can have multiple war bosses in your army wawing. Just wawing their heads off and getting your boys into the thick of it. Now, you could also opt for the Big Choppa, which is only 9 points. Cheaper than the Power Claw by quite a bit, but more expensive than it was in 7th edition. This is a death-dealing weapon, though. It's +2 to the Warboss's strength, which is an 8. You are wounding vehicles on a 4-up. If the attack gets through and they fail their save, which would be at a -1, they take 2 damage. With 4 attacks, that can be pretty nasty. I wouldn't want him facing vehicles with a Big Choppa, but I think he can wreck infantry really well, as he'd be wounding on 2-ups for most models, most infantry models, just with the Big Choppa. So, Warboss, I think he's an auto-include, well, especially if you want to go with a very melee-centric army. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Gorr, I want to put some chrome on that boss. I want to make sure that he's a big walking tank that can shrug off all small arms fire. I say power to you. Personally, that's not for me. I don't think it's going to be that viable in this edition. In this wacky world of plasma, las cannons, and power fists, I think that most things are going to eat through that armor like it's nothing. What you really need is not chrome, but green. You need a bunch of boys to be able to have your back and soak up the fire. You need to create a wall of muscle, and that works better than any 2-up save. Surround them with boys, and make sure that you are smart enough, cunning enough, to get the first hit. You want to be able to hit him before he can hit you, and you want to make sure that he can't get back up. So you attack first. Don't let them hit you. And what I think we're really missing here is mobility, and that's what you get. You get subtraction of 1 inch from movement with the Warboss. So his own boys are going to be moving at a slower pace if he's trying to keep up with them. Nah, But if we really want to talk mobility, we're gonna need some wheels. Now you evil sons knows what's coming. You cult of speed, you can see it off in the horizon. You can smell the engine grease and you can see the smoke. And you hear that roar and you know the boss is coming and he's bringing his bike. I'm talking about pure mobile monster. 14-inch move with an 18-inch twin DACA gun that fires 3 shots apiece. We're talking about shooting and assault. And not only that, it's not just mobility, my friends. He also gets an additional toughness. So he's tougher, harder to kill, and cheaper than a Mega Boss. Now mobility, you are using the terrain, you are navigating its channels, and you are turning Space Marines into spaghetti. Because you are attacking first, and you are a cunning war boss. So, if you take the war boss on a bike, I also kind of find it funny that you can bring a squig, an attack squig, with a boss on a bike. I know you can do it in 7th, but I'd like to see a boss with a sidecar that has a squig in it, or maybe 2. So, I'm not telling you not to foot slug. If you want a foot slug, power to you. I think it's still viable, and I think that with enough boys, anything can happen. So, it's your wah. You run it your way, boss. So that wraps up this episode. Next time, let's talk about the Big Mech. Let's see what the Big Mech can do. I'm eyeing that shock attack gun, and it's making me happy. So for next time, War Bosses, let's hear a big, nice roar.